Hindi lahat ng fairy tale ay may happily ever after, lalo na kung butas ang bulsa. Love and finances, they go hand in hand. But balancing both, that is the key. Sa totoong buhay, hindi lang kilig at pagmamahal ang puhunan. Dapat maging wais din tayo pagdating sa diskarte sa pera. Welcome to Wais by Choice. I'm your host, Andoy Beltran. And if you're new to this podcast, this is where we talk about all things money and how to wisely manage it. In this fourth episode of Wais by Choice, kasama natin one of the most inspiring couples in the internet today, our pod parents. And today, our Wais guests, I'm super happy, super proud to introduce you guys to Saab Magalona and Jim Bacarro. Again,
Hi.
Welcome to Wais by Choice.
Hello, Andoy. Hello, mga kawais. Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Super happy because we're going to talk a lot about transitions. Of course, February, love month, talk about Valentine's, but sobrang daming relationships, sobrang daming pwedeng pag-usapan when it comes to love, but mas maraming pwedeng pag-usapan. We talk about love and finance at the same time. So you guys just celebrated your 10th anniversary. First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Backstage, I was telling you guys na parang nakakatuwa kasi months from now, we're also going to celebrate our 10th anniversary.
Congratulations.
So,
Congrats.
lapit na, no? We're done with a 7-year itch. Definitely, safe tayo. What I'm really trying to get from you guys, especially for our mga kawais, no, is that, again, 10 years, 1 decade, tagal nun. But Jim, what made you feel, what made you think na, oh, Saab, she's the one?
Well, definitely, I think
It's this face.
that's true. Aside from the, I think for sure it was the first time kasi na I had a genuine friendship with my partner. I've dated a couple of people prior to Saab, pero it was like, okay.
Try not to insult them.
No. Mababaw lang, it'll seem mababaw, pero ito yung sagot. She was the first girlfriend I had that I would rather spend time with her than be with my barkada.
Ooh.
So, parang she was like, oh my God, like, pwede pala to. Like, I'd rather play video games with her. I don't want to watch a movie. So it started out with that. Like, oh, I don't want to watch this movie. Oh, lalabas yung X-Men First Class in 2 weeks. I'm gonna watch that with Saab.
Yeah.
This new show, I'm gonna watch it with Saab.
Yeah. And hindi pilit. Alam mo yun, parang...
Hindi.
Exactly.
Kasi I know the experience of like,
Of course.
kailangan. Pero ito is like, I need to.
You naturally gravitate towards,
Yeah.
spending time with her, getting to know her.
It won't be as cool without her. Ganon.
How about you, Saab? What made you feel, what made you think na, I think I'm ready to settle down. Parang he's the guy.
I think prior to getting to know Jim better, kasi we were college batchmates, but we were never really friends.
Sure.
When I got to know him, I think I was at a better stage of life na I felt like I had a lot more self-confidence, and he just kept working through, like, wanting to break through my barrier of I don't want to be in a relationship, I'm not ready, and he really made me feel like I was very loved, despite some of the insecurities that I still had.
Of course, thank you, Jim, for that very, very honest answer. Nga. Parang, again, you feel gravitated towards her, nag-start ng friendship, so super deep yung foundation. How about you, Sam?
I think it's the fact that when I started dating Jim, it made me just want... It made me just want to be a better person. Like, and he's really so funny. So I was just like, I always found myself laughing out loud and really wanting to share like every bit of good news or bad news. Siya kaagad yung nasa isip ko. And I just wanted to be a much better person with him.
Galing. Sweet.
Medyo di ko nag-gets.
In my head, it made sense. Okay. Ang point ko is like, he really made me feel like I deserved love. Even when I was like going back and forth na parang hindi ako, I don't want. So, yeah.
This is a finance podcast. It's
Yeah.
not a showbiz podcast. No? But what we're really trying to get here is, again, transition tayo. No? We're reminiscing. You guys share. Thank you for sharing your journey. But let's transition. No? Kasi syempre, nag-start kayo as boyfriend, girlfriend. When you guys were dating, when you guys were still getting to know each other, when you guys were playing video games, diba? Paano kayo when it comes to expenses? When you go out, when you spend, when you probably go on vacation out of town. How are you guys as boyfriend, girlfriend before? And fast forward, how are you guys now as parents?
Ako,
Go ahead.
Okay, two things. One, we were always transparent.
Okay.
Like, so, even when we were starting, I grew up kasi with, the guy has to pay for everything.
Yeah.
And Saab was like, what? Parang sobra siyang, hindi. So, we were very open. And when we were dating, like, I would say, oh my God, gusto ko ng, we'd be at the restaurant, tapos makikita namin yung presyo.
Okay.
I was never ashamed to tell her, like,
Di kaya.
yeah, parang, oh my God, parang ano na lang, bread na lang tayo. Bread and appetizers, tas alis. And I felt very comfort. I found so much comfort in that, na parang we could laugh about that, right? And to where we are now, and even during that time naman, ako yung super duper, as in, mega kuripot.
Okay.
Like, I would ask Saab probably for a good month if I should buy this air purifier na 300 pesos. Ayan, nagde-deliberate ako. Mga ganon, whatever. And si Saab would always be like, go! Cut to now, na Saab is completely, we'll talk about that later.
Sure.
Kasi siya yung sobrang growth in terms of like managing money. Siya na yung ako na yung medyo parang, bili tayo ng ganyan. Medyo ganon. So, but I guess from that point to now, it's always been like, we're honest. We tell each other like, I want to do this, but I feel scared. I want to do this, but I really, really want to do this. Promise, babawiin ko.
Sure.
Ganon.
So, Jim, again, nakita natin yung evolution ni Jim as the boyfriend and Jim now as the husband. How about you, Sam?
Actually, I was trying to think like, ganun na pala katagal doon na parang, I don't remember how the whole process was kapag may bill. But I do remember that he would always be the one na parang, hindi, ako na. And then it's like, hindi. Though that struggle. The difference, I think, when we got engaged pa lang, no? When we got engaged, it was like, hey, can we get clear that like there's no labeling of mine and yours because we're joining forces na. So parang everything that I earn and everything you earn, that's for both of us. And we don't take that for granted na, and there's no sneaky factors happening. Like, it's always like, yun nga, if there's a big purchase, we'll say, what do you think? Not na nagpapaalam, but it's because it's our money.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's the difference.
You respect each other's insights as well. Parang, di ba? Parang it's better that you make that decision knowing that you've considered all factors, sensitivities, whatnot. No?
Yeah.
So just to share with you, Jim, nakaka-relate ako dun sa kwento mo kasi when we were still dating, hindi ako transparent. I didn't come from a rich family, no. Parang I can perfectly remember our first date. We were both from San Beda. So, Menjola. First date namin, punta kaming SM City, Manila. Nag-commute kami, bus from Menjola to SM City, Menjola, and SM Manila. And then we watched the movie. Pag uwi, I checked my wallet. Hindi na enough for us to commute from SM Manila back to Menjola. And nagdo-dorm siya. ang ginawa ko, I pretended like I wanted to walk her home from SM Manila to the dorm. And that's a good 2-3 kilometers. This is the first time I'm admitting this. Hindi pa alam ng wife ko to. No? But I learned something from you guys. Transparency is very important. But fast forward to today, I'm pretty happy about the way we handle finances.
You got a romantic walk out of it.
Exactly. I literally walked her home. I got to know her better over that 3-kilometer walk. No? But ngayon, again, I perfectly understand that there are really couples na, what's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. Meron tayong joint account. Whatever floats the boat, sabi nga nila. Whatever works for you, exactly. No? But
Just to be clear, we also have like separate accounts right on top of the.
Absolutely.
I'll talk about that later. but
let's do that. Let's talk about that later. Kasi again, in the Philippine context, no, pag pinag-uusapan natin ng pera, it's sort of like a taboo.
Yeah, that's true.
Diba? Parang hindi tayo masyadong komportable when we start talking about money. Money, especially in the context of family, relatives.
Yeah.
It's tough, no? Kaya importante yung sinasabi nga natin yung pagbabalanse. I think pwede natin pag-usapan dito yon, Sab, no? Yung pagbabalanse ng financial independence as Sab, financial independence ni Jin, financial independence nyo as pod parents, and again, financial independence nyo for the kids, no? So, let's talk about your budgeting technique. I want our mga kawais, no, to learn stuff from you. Tips, tricks, hacks. How do you guys budget now as a couple?
Tell them the history first.
Okay. Well, at first, every peso, every centavo, as in like I would track, I knew where the money was going because Saab was not, she wasn't, hindi yun yung strength niya.
No, absolutely. I'm the type, and I know this goes for a lot of people apparently, na I didn't know that a credit card, like you can't just pay the amount due.
The minimum.
Like akala ko, that's, ganun pala, yun lang pala. And then he's the one who explained to me that, hey, actually, you know what, it's better if you pay the whole thing.
Exactly.
And nung time na Sabi and I were dating, syempre, I couldn't, again, transparency. We were very honest, but like, when I saw her that her credit card statement was like every month nagpapilot. So ko, uy,
Nababother ka.
ako dun So she made those initial mistakes, but I think one of the best things that she did at the onset was investing in real estate. Because she since graduating college, she hasn't never had like fixed income, right? It's per project or whatever. So she did that on her own.
Thanks to my mom.
Yeah, and so parang kumbaga it set her up na okay, I have to do this. So parang that in itself became na program siya na I'll set aside money every time she gets a collection. And then when I came in and we started discussing our budget, sabi ko, okay, well, from what I learned is magtabi ka ng 20% for savings and then spend whatever.
Yeah.
At least you don't feel guilty na.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, actually I wanted to share rin lang na with financial management with couples.
Yep.
A very, very big hurdle to get over is the unlearning or basically like carrying yung mga history of your parents.
That's right.
Yeah, of how they did it.
How they did it.
That's
Kasi like what you said kanina na may kanya-kanyang style eh.
That's right.
So maybe your mom and your dad probably did it this way and it won't work for you. So kami, like when we were starting, I had this expectation na, hey, my mom handles all the finances. My dad works, ganyan. And like, or something, whatever. So nung nag-start na kami, hindi kami nagkakasundo.
There was a lot of tension because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like,
Yeah, like-
what's a budget?
Every month may bagong Excel file. Si Saab, may bago siyang, ano siya eh, Saab is so good at learning things.
Okay.
So she would say like, oh my God, may bago akong app, may bago akong class, may bago akong book. Ganon. So every month, ako, no, I was getting like, can we just kasi ang gusto ko was our goal for the monthly meeting was
What do we
what was
have?
our target parang budget, over ba tayo, under, what's next month. Pero every month it was like, instead of discussing that, it would be like
Totally different.
may bago akong book. Ito pala, ganito na yung theory, ganyan.
We're totally changing our principles.
Ganon. So eventually now to today, and that was a lot of arguments,
A lot of shame on my part because nga he had his expectations. So it was.
I did not shame her.
No, you didn't shame. But me, I was like, why am I not doing it the way a wife should be doing it?
Okay.
And then just to let the mga kawais natin know, if you're starting in a marriage and you're finding yourselves butting heads, maybe that has to happen for you guys to come to a conclusion na, hey, you gotta work as a team. Hindi kayo nag-aaway just for the sake na ako yung mas magaling sa pera, ikaw hindi ka magaling. It's like, no, actually, I wanna, like what happened with us is like, Jim's like, no, I'm not mad at you because you're not doing it the way I want to. I'm here because I wanna, work on this together.
You want to figure it out.
And now I'm the best.
She is the best now.
He has no idea like where our
Yeah.
money is. I'm in charge of everything.
And
I worked on it.
And nakakatawa kasi, when we were starting out nga, she was, and I wasn't afraid to admit it. Like, look, you're earning more than me. I had a corporate job, and she had a very lucrative career, and we talked about it. Like, sinasabi ko na, look, parang malinaw eh. Like, ako fixed income ako, so ako magbabayad ng ganito.
Yeah.
And there was a time nga na doon ako magaling and siya nag-struggle doon. So we talked about it and we agreed. But eventually, when the time came na she said, hey, I'm ready to do it na. Like, I think I found the things. Like, okay, go for it. And yun nga, I think for the past 5 or 6 years, I have no idea where my money is. I don't know where my income goes. I don't, yeah.
I found that very endearing when he, especially when you started your own business for the first time. So he left his corporate job and then he was very open with me and saying na, this is my plan. I want to start this business and can you give me this couple of months now? Probably like we're gonna have to work on, our savings.
Sure.
Walang pumapasok muna at the start. And that was very endearing to me because it was very honest.
Yeah.
There's no
ego.
no
machismo.
And it's so it's very hard to find in a man.
Absolutely.
And I knew just by him being honest, it's like, oh, I made the right choice. Wais na choice.
Wise choice.
Na he's like a really good partner.
Yeah.
And that's why I had no doubts whatsoever. And then, I worked on the whole financial literacy thing and like I learned a lot. And now, I think we're okay naman tayo, Jim. Our money's okay. So, yeah.
Very impressive. Very impressive. Kasi again, I talked about ego, di ba? In the Filipino context, parang sabi nga ni Jim kanina, may mga stereotypes eh. The woman is expected to manage the finances, manage the household. The guy is just supposed to work and provide for the family. But again, that's the thing of the past.
Super.
Kasi nag-evolve yung society.
Yeah.
In fact, before in terms of TV, 'di ba? Before meron talagang prime time, pero ngayon wala nang prime time because you literally can catch your series, you can catch your movie kung kailan mo gusto because they're streaming. Let's talk about the next level, no? Kasi I always keep on talking about this sa mga speaking engagements ko, financial literacy programs, webinars, even podcasts na ang budget, it's not supposed to be a one-time thing. We talk about budgeting. It's something that parang sa mga corporate entities, diba, meron mga strategic planning yan, management planning. plan for the year ahead. I always teach people na yung budget nyo for 2024, it's intended for 2024. By the time mag-2025 na, you need to start factoring in, let's say, inflation. Tumaas na yung presyo ng mga bilihin compared to last year. Let's talk about your income. Again, individually, as a couple, pwedeng tumaas na rin yung income nyo. Perhaps may mga additional streams of income na rin. No?
Yeah.
So that just proves the point na yung budget, it's something that you guys should also tweak, adjust,
Yep.
Recalibrate every so often. No? Talk about recalibrating, talk about adjusting. My next question is, let's talk about parenthood. Di ba? Yung pagbabudget nyo as a couple, again, given na yun, parang sometimes you butt heads, sometimes magkakaroon ng argument. Healthy arguments, super welcome yun. No? But ibang usapan when you start factoring in decisions for your pod kids, your kids. When you start factoring in decisions, parang lalo na pagdating sa finance, di ba? How do you go about it?
Shall I answer this? I guess one thing lang to clarify before I answer that question is I think it's important to note that the trust that I gave Jim when he was very vulnerable enough to, be transparent with me, I feel like that trust that we had for each other worked for us because now, like the business that he started 10 years ago is doing really well. Shout out Linya Linya. And so I think I just need to say that it's very important na you trust your partner and be open about things.
Correct.
Ngayon, for the household budgeting, yun nga, ang ginagawa namin ngayon is there's one account that is just for all the incoming stuff. Just so it's easy to track. All of the incoming stuff, his or mine, it's just in one account. And then the game changer that I think has been great for me is that every time there's an income, whatever amount that is, especially because I'm a freelancer, we have different streams of income from his businesses. 5% of that goes to a fun account. FUN fund. So from that fun account, that's for me and Jim to enjoy. Like we're not allowed to do any investing in whatever from that 5%. And then 50% goes to our joint account. Yeah. So that makes 55%. Hindi ko na-explain yung the rest. 15% goes to taxes just so that's the thing that I don't ever want to experience ever again. It's just to not bigla magugulat ka na parang, may kailangan mo magbayad ng taxes. Just para lang safe, 15% of every income, I just put it in another account so that I don't accidentally spend it. 30% goes to operating expenses of the businesses. And did that make it up na? Yeah, okay. Tama ba? Tama. Yes, tama. Yeah.
For us, okay, so I think when we were tama ka, like when it comes to budgeting, it depends on your life stage. And that's why for me it's always been about transparency and goal setting. Like, and when we were newlyweds, ang goal namin was travel. So like every time we'd earn, like budgeting wise, like Saab is giving these allocations, right? Nung time na yun, it was all about travel.
Exactly.
It was travel and buy new
shoes
and music gear. Now that we're parents, or as soon as we became parents, that pie suddenly easily changed. And the thing is, the important thing is, I think which we were able to do is we kept talking about it. Like, hey, kaya nga parang when I said na, it's okay, I don't care what system it is. I don't care if mag-Excel tayo or whatever. Magsulat tayo sa whiteboard. I don't care. Basta, what is the current state? And clear tayo saan pupunta yung pie. Like parang, so we said, okay, obviously, the kids, and then we would... So yun, actually, Saab and I, we started this parang forecast, like how we do it in sa business, for the household. meron kaming cash forecast. So a cash flow forecast for the rest of the year, and then
nice.
and then parang titingnan namin na kunwari, let's say
I would get so triggered at the start when he was explaining like this Excel sheet, and because I wasn't well versed in that, so I was like, "What is this? Like, why are you showing me like all these numbers? Hindi ko magets." So, just to say, like, if anybody here is feeling defensive about like not knowing stuff, that's normal.
It's okay.
But I invite you to try to put your guard down. It's like, it's not, it's not about you. And like,
I think a good point,
diba?
magandang point dito is like we had to find each other's language.
I
So
didn't
parang-
like it na parang, in my head, you were like, ano ako, empleyado mo na nag-report
ganon.
sa'yo?
And this is coming from somebody na, sabi mo nga Saab kanina, you love to learn new things,
Yes,
diba?
yeah.
Yun that's why. Kaya parang it was when it was figuring out our language pagdating sa budgeting.
Yeah.
That also changes. Kasi
That's
when
right.
you're a newlywed, when
Sorry.
we were newlyweds, it was like, magkano kinita natin? May pambayad ba tayo sa ganyan? Ganun yung language natin right? And you don't take things too personally. Pero syempre when, let's say for example, for a couple that one part of the marriage quits his or her job, right? Or something, or mag-iiba. You need to find a new language to kind of help each other, like parang understand what the goals are.
Yeah.
So first, for Saab and I, it was me when I finally explained to her na, no, I just want to make sure na at the end of the year, parang nagmamatch yung spending natin with our goal setting as a couple. Na parang, does this reflect na if we pinagtabi natin yung dalawang pie na we spend so much money on travel, or sorry, we spend so much money on shoes.
Yeah.
And then,
Doesn't make sense, diba?
pero
Parang
the
ganun.
goals that we set as a couple was everything's about the kids. So hindi siya nagtutugma. So in fairness, parang we used our skill sets. Ako mas macro, parang so ganon. Ako yung cash flow, chine-check ko like ganon. Pero si Saab yung the nerding out of like what goes here. Like I don't know, ang dami yung mga bank accounts.
And yung execution.
Yung execution ang nag-execute. So yun.
Yeah, finding your strengths. I mean, I know this is a financial podcast, but I think it's so important kasi to note that you could have any kind of system,
That's right.
but the most important system that you have is trusting yourself and your partner and being on the same page.
You know, Saab, again, perfect. Gusto ko yung insight na, sabi mo nga kanina, parang whatever floats the boat, there's no such thing as, a rule of thumb when it comes to budgeting, when it comes to spending as a couple. Just to support your insights, parang when you talk about budgeting, sabi ko nga kanina, it's supposed to be an ever-evolving thing. When you guys were still single, iba yung budget, iba yung priorities in life. When you guys got married, iba yung budget, iba na ulit priorities in life. When you guys started, raising kids, syempre nag-iba na yung budget, nag-iba na yung priorities in life. Sabi nga ni Jim, totally nag-iba yung pie. Dumami yung slices ng pie.
Well, I would say na first of all, mahirap tanungin sa akin yun kasi ako medyo I'm not the best, or parang kung kuripot ako in life when it comes to the kids for some reason parang I don't care. Parang ganun.
I
Bahala
totally
na.
get you. I totally get you. Same here.
But I think the major difference, and if I could share something, is the goal setting again is very, very clear. Like kami ni Saab, like we know what are the essentials na for example, musical instruments are we both believe are great investments because it trains their mind, it trains so parang if you were to ask like, hey, would you spend 200,000 on a piano for the boys versus would you spend kahit 50,000 for a new iPad?
Yeah.
Parang iba yung grading system namin.
Yung weight.
Iba yung weight. And iba yung, we would say, sige, piano. Parang, so, I think that balances the spoiling. So, like, kunwari, nakakatawa kasi ako, we just bought our son a Fender Stratocaster. Tapos parang, when we were gonna buy it, I was like, hindi, worth it to. And then 2 weeks later, like my son wants a piece of chocolate na more than 300 pesos. I'm like, wag na yan. Parang, bili na lang banana, whatever. So, parang biglang nag-iba yung the way I see things. Pero I would say it's that.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I think it's something that we're still constantly learning, especially now that I don't think, because our kids are 5 and 7, and they have no, I think we have to start introducing the concept of like money and like working for, I think konting, kumare, our youngest, he always says, Mama, why do you have to work? Why do you have an event? No, stay here forever with me, and I never want you to leave. And then I explained to him, I said, oh, Mama has to work. I have to work the same way that you have to study and go to school.
Yeah.
I also have to work so that we can earn and so that we can keep living our lives, you know? So planting these seeds of like, actually you've got to work to earn, and then, you can spend that money on what you want. And when they want something, especially like a toy or whatever, I really say like, oh, okay, let's work on that. Maybe next month, that's the thing that we can work on. Yeah. And so let's keep going to school and let's keep working so that we can do this.
That's right.
And it's very difficult to stop and like pause before saying like, yes, sweetheart, I'll give you anything you want. But it's the same way as you do it also for yourself. Now you pause before the impulse buy. You have to think of the long-term effects it will have, right? For the kids, it helps to make them a little uncomfortable at times. A little discomfort is actually good for them because it builds their resilience. And it builds na, oh, I can't always get what I want pala right away. Especially in this whole iPad generation thing na, click, I get something right away. Click, 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 everything, what I want right now, I get it. It's important that you make them a little bored, a little, not like forever entertained.
That's right.
Because it will build up understanding and patience that you have to work to get something. You can't just get it instantly. So,
guys, Jim, Saab, most of the time, our wise guests tend to shy away from things like this, finance talk, numbers, because they feel like they're not experts. We talk about, again, the field of investments, finance. But this is what I love about Wise by Choice. It's really me learning from your insights, learning from your experiences. Because 3 things from this short conversation alone, 3 things. What Jim said kanina, very powerful, no? Parang, Andoy, I totally understand, no? You're a dad, you want to provide, you want to say yes every time to your kids. Daddy, pabili na to. Daddy, let's go here, let's do this. But the overall goal, the 2025 goal, the 5 years from now goal, the 30 years from now goal, that's what's going to provide you direction, number 1. Number 2, sabi ni Saab kanina, Andoy, as parents, we need to train them to, go through discomforts. Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na parang yun yung, how do you strike that balance? You want to provide and you want to prepare them for the real world. You train them. And number 3, you can actually gamify it.
Yep.
With what I do, syempre boring yung financial literacy workshops na stock market 101, bonds 101. What I normally do is I gamify. I inject education into the engagement. I inject education into the game, make it more competitive. And that's what we're slowly doing. Na parang, gusto mo ng ganitong toy, gusto mo punta tayo dito, gusto mo magbakasyon tayo sa birthday weekend ni Pita, parang ganun. Let's try to do it one activity at a time. Let's try to read the book. I'm going to give you 5 pesos. I'm going to give you 20 pesos. You work for it so that you slowly bring them to a realization na, again, sabi mo nga iPad generation, hindi lahat one click, hindi lahat instant. But guys, you can only plan so much. Diba? Parang you also need to understand na parang sabi nga natin kanina, we're trying to train our kids to be real world ready. No? But as parents, we also need to be real world ready. Kayo guys, as couples and as parents, how do you prepare for emergencies?
We do have, for me personally, I like having a lot of different accounts because when it's all just in one bulk, I get parang in my head like, ang dami naman pala eh. So I like being very specific on like this account is for this account is for that. And so I can easily gauge na, oh, we have to build this fund
Next.
more.
Yeah.
This fund, we have to do this. So our rule of thumb, and it can get a little uncomfortable to face your finances. I know how triggering that can be for some people na parang I don't want to face it because I don't want to know the truth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drama when it comes to looking at your finances. But I would really encourage you to just sit down and finally set a timer if you need to, like just see what is the reality. How much do you spend monthly for you and your family to live a comfortable life and not have any debt? That's the goal, right? Become debt free. So once you see that figure that you have to have monthly, now you start building your fund.
From there.
Personally, sa amin, we have two separate funds. One is for emergency. This is the one that we really don't want to touch.
That's right.
And then another one is it's called family savings. That's like for biglaang emergency na pwede mong galawin.
That's right.
So our rule of thumb is 6 months worth of monthly expenses yung emergency fund, the one that we don't want to touch. 3 months worth of your monthly expenses, yung the one that you can get, yung biglaang, oh, the car broke down, gotta fix the thing. That's where we get it from. But we don't touch the other one because that one is like for
medical
actual real
emergencies.
emergencies. Aside from the emergency fund, the family savings, I also have, of course, medical insurance. I have different accounts for the kids, for their education. It works for me and my brain. I'm diagnosed with ADHD. So I really like that it's very clear to me because visuals work for me.
Parang yung sinabi nga ni Saab before, it was like having envelopes.
Oh yeah.
Diba? Like when like, oh, money comes in.
Yeah, if I have one big, guys, libre ko kayo, dami kong pera. But actually, if you divide it and like see, oh, actually, gotta build this up because tuition is coming, blah, 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 blah. It's really, that's what works for me. So,
and actually for I just want to say, like, us, and Saab, again, nakakatawa. Naturally, in fairness talagang wais nga talaga to si Saab. Naturally, kasi without any, so she invested in real estate.
Correct.
She did not know anything. Wala, pangit yung deal na nakuha niya nung time na yun. I mean, in terms of
interest.
She got a loan, and so, but she had a inkling. So that one, health insurance. Before she got pregnant, I think that has been our biggest investment and with the best return.
That's true. Super.
Given if you know our history, we had a complicated birthing experience and whatever. But Saab has got health insurance, which has been so helpful. For education naman, nakakatawa. When we had kids, my parents kasi, over the dinner table, I would always hear them about educational plan. So I kept saying, Saab, ano yung budget natin? Parang gusto ko, day one Pancho is set na for college. In Harvard. Kunwari, ganon. And we kept, so my advice pagdating sa ganon would be, ask around.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of products.
A lot of options
to choose from, and it depends on your goals.
That's right.
You probably make mistakes just as I did. We had a plan, right? And then the actual insurance people were like, actually, you should take it out now because it's not doing so well, so move it. So it's normal to make these mistakes, especially at the start. Just keep an open mind, keep learning, asking around, and you'll be able to move that money around to suit what works for you and what's the best for you.
It really goes to show that you guys are, financially aware. You guys are financially literate. Kasi if you're going to just look it up, no? The ideal level, the ideal amount of an emergency fund is really somewhere within between 6 to 12 months worth of your average monthly expenses. Sabi nga natin, ayaw natin galawin yun, ayaw natin mangyari yun. But there are really, things that just happen. Di ba? Talk about crisis, talk about emergencies. Syempre, for you to be able to budget something, for you to be able to build your emergency fund, ang source niyan, syempre, income. At this day and age, parang almost always, no? Parang merong one way or another, several ways, shapes, or forms, no? Marami tayong side gigs, marami tayong mga side hustles. Again, as parents na would love to provide everything for the family. As parents na pinag-usapan natin kanina, Saab, no? Parang nasesepanks tayo every time we go out kasi may mga clingy na kids na gustong sumama sa atin, nagtatanong, bakit mo kailangan umalis? Ba't mo kailangan mag-work? No? My next question is, pagdating dito sa income, no? Multiple income sources, how do you find the time to be, several places at the same time? How do you find the time and the energy to, jump from guesting to going to the office, attending a meeting, going online for a client call? So how do you go about that? How do you find the time, energy, and just the sheer grit and determination to do those things?
I think it's really about energy management, and it goes back nga again to goal setting. Kung clear yung goals mo, kung clear what your priorities are, it's easier to say no and yes to stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, what I've always tried to tell Saab is, and we do this actually with our kids. We have to do. Parang we believe in not. Parang more than the to-do list. The more important thing is organizing your to-do list. Kasi every person's to-do list will probably be like 500, 200, 100, whatever. From alter pants to do the most important work thing, right? But if you don't organize it and sort through it, you'll burn out.
No, confused ka.
You'll always feel
Exactly.
like it never ends. So what?
He's so good at that, by the way.
So parang at the start of the day, like I ask myself like, what are the two things that if I get done today would make
Matter.
everything else not as important. Parang ganon. And then aside from that, every week we review. Like based on what are the most income generating activities. Like, okay, so obviously this is
That was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Like just the buzzword of like, what's income generating? Out of all of your to-dos, it's like, which one will, in the long run, like be good for the family?
And I think aside from that, it helps you balance in your energy. So like, for example, if Saab says na, okay, itong project na to, it's 5th on the list. So if it doesn't go as well as planned, then it won't be as stressful.
That's right.
Kasi si number 1 at si number 2, we got it in the bag, we put a lot of energy in, we focused. So parang it sets you up for feeling good about yourself also.
And if you get that one thing done, then you'll have space to do the more soul-feeding things that you want to do, right?
Yeah. Ako, alam mo, natuwa ako, Jim, kasi this is the first time I'm actually, not the first time I heard about energy management, but this is really the first time I ended up appreciating energy management from a finance and from a parent standpoint. No? Kasi, again, yung energy, parang, you can only do so much, you can only plan for so much, but yung energy, parang, if you're really passionate about something, ako, I keep on telling my wife, I keep on telling my mom, parati kasi nilang tinatanong, saan mo kinukuha yung energy mo? You have a speaking engagement morning for a BPO, and then lunchtime may meeting. After that, meron pang engagement sa gabi. Parang, kumakain ka ba? I mean, words of concern. But I just end up responding na parang I just love what I do. No? Parang I'm super passionate about what I do. This is what gets me going. So energy management. No?
And nakakatawa kasi when Jim was opening up about, because we only had like one real, like linya-linya, diba? We started with that. And then he had this idea na we should, you know what? This was Q4 of 2023. And he's like, we're gonna open 3 new businesses. I'm like, what? Like, are you crazy? And then I was so against it because nga in my head, nagpanic ako na parang, what's that gonna do? And then we had to have a conversation. I said, hey Jim, if you're gonna do this business, my non-negotiable is I don't want you to be not present for the family.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just mean physically present. For me, it's not about quantity, it's quality.
Yeah.
You can work on the businesses, but when you get to the home and you're with the kids, you be here. I don't want you stressing out about, like your mind is somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then he said to me, this is the reality, this is my plan, this is what's gonna happen, and I assure you that's not gonna happen. And when he gave me that assurance, I said, okay, I'm on board.
Yeah.
And I never fought him on that ever again, and good call lahat. Wais.
I mean, in the capital markets, that's what the capital markets is for. No? Parang, for example, in the world of stocks, when you start buying stocks, when you start buying publicly listed companies, you end up owning them, but you don't end up running them. So you end up being, di ba, parang...
So parang passive lang siya.
Exactly. Parang there are people running the business for you. But if you wanna outsource the actual decision making, meron kang unit investment trust funds. You guys are.
I have that.
Exactly. You guys have UITFs. You have mutual funds. No? So you're pretty much outsourcing the decision making to fund managers who monitor the market for you. So there are lots of options out there. And again, what's good about that is, number one, you're financially aware. Number two, you are open to hearing stuff from other people. Sabi mga Saab kanina, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, that's
Don't be
true.
afraid to ask around. You can always research. You can always look it up.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you end up doing business. You end up transacting with people you have genuine trust for.
The worst thing you can do actually is be scared of what to do with your money, because it's okay to suck at it at first. Like that's where you have to start. You have to make these mistakes, and then that's where you learn. Para you're able to gain that confidence. Because if you're just scared na parang I don't know what to do, I'm just gonna keep it. I don't know where to start. Like it's okay not to know, because that's the first step of finding out, and just keep researching.
So guys, we talked about side hustles. We talked about multiple income sources. We've even started dabbling with the capital market, stock market, unit investment trust funds. Can you share with us your experience, perhaps wins and losses, when it comes to building and establishing and eventually growing your businesses?
Well, I think having a clear differentiation of like what's an emotional investment, what are really, really good financial investments, that was very, very key to start. So when I asked Saab to, hey, I'm gonna quit my corporate job, which is paying me X amount per month, stable, to start a business, to start a content page, which is linya-linya eventually. It was an emotional thing.
Yeah.
But I lagi may katapat na sabi ko, okay, but I'm gonna do a side hustle, as in like, naging ghostwriter ako.
Ooh.
Parang I made jingles, like I made commercial jingles. Sabi ko, para lang, I still pay the monthly bills.
Yeah.
But let me build this business. Same with, so while that was happening, we were building all these things. Like, so we did the podcast. And the podcast, at the first year, we said, okay, we're not gonna take any brands, because this is just supposed to be our date night and fun. And then eventually naturally it became a business on its own. And then in 2020 we said I wanted to make the characters that our kids love come to life. So we started Padi Rock. that was obviously an emotional investment kasi parang it was the pandemic. We weren't, you can't, the ROI on starting an animation thing in this, in this world, I mean, it's not a smart investment, right? But nagko-coincide doon was the money, because we were allocating properly and goal setting was very, very, parang,
on point.
Parang si Saab would put, I knew, I had the confidence na Saab invested in this.
Yeah.
Like parang ito, nag-UITF. Ito, so meron kaming ganun, may mga UITF, may mga life insurance na may growth, na whatever. While we're doing that, we still have emotional investments na parang, because parang at the end of the day, if hindi kami masayang tao, then all of this doesn't really matter.
That's right.
Parang ganun.
That's right. I've learned so much from you guys. No? I keep on telling you guys nga kanina, parang mga insights na nakuha ko from Jim, na insights na nakuha ko from Saab, individually and as a couple, parang I'm blown away with the learnings na nakuha from you guys. So, but very unfortunate that this all the time we have. No, but again, Saab and Jim, I totally agree with a lot of your insights. Super happy with your inspiring story.
Thank you.
Before we wrap it up, for our mga kawais out there, ano yung mga tips? Ano yung mga important na takeaways na gusto nyong ibahagi sa ating mga kawais?
I think it's important for you and your partner to be on the same page. Be open about it. Because just like anything else that you want to grow, that you want to build, you have to know what your goals are together, diba? How can you achieve it if you don't know like what direction you want to go? So don't keep it a secret. I know na parang it can be a little uncomfortable. Face it like with an open heart, knowing that this is your partner. You promised things to each other, and this should be just like any other thing you're working on, right? So just be open about things, where you want to go, goal setting, transparency about what's going on and your reality, and just keep communicating with each other.
My advice would be, there are a lot of systems out there. Choose the one that works for you, and you will find that system that works for you if you guys keep talking, and if you guys have clear goals on what you want for this year, what you want for this month, what you want for the next 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are actually very specific about goal setting. Like this year, especially Pancho, he has a lot of therapy, so we have that's our non-negotiable. We have to have money to make sure that he gets the best people on our team. And syempre, it's different for all families. Like, what is most important to you? You have to name what matters so that you can work towards it.
So thank you, Saab and Jim, our pod parents. I'm sure maraming natutunan ang ating mga kawais dito sa conversation natin. Not just for a stronger relationship, but also for smarter financial planning, for things na gusto nating mangyari, and even things na ayaw naman nating mangyari, but still prepare for it. No? So again, that's all the time we have, and again, we do hope you enjoy watching episode 4 of Wais by Choice. We hope this episode will help you build a stable and secure future for your family. Thanks for tuning into Wais by Choice, where being wise with your financial choices is always the wisest decision. If you liked our episode, follow us on Spotify and on YouTube. If you'd like to be part of our discussions, join our Facebook community, Wais by Choice. Until next time, stay wise for your loved ones.